Guten Tag. My name is Frederick Enzio Busche. In my family, it is tradition to name the firstborn son Frederick, but call them by their middle name. Now for my bio. When I was about 10 years old, in the beginning years of World War II, the first air attacks began in my hometown of Dortmund, Germany. I'm a Protestant, by the way. My father arranged for my mother, sister, and me to move to Bad Kissingen in northern Bavaria, where my mother and sister stayed for the duration over the war. We were in kind of a sanitarium run by Catholic nuns. Later, when I was 14, I was drafted into the German army as a soldier. I was captured by American forces that treated me well. After that, life was very difficult. We had very little food and medicine. One day, while sitting in my room, I was overcome by an indescribable feeling of helplessness. I felt like a grain of sand on an ocean beach without anything or anyone to anchor me. It was a devastating feeling, and I could not sleep because I felt so empty, lonely, and desperately in need. As the light of the next day entered my room, I began to cry. My desperation reached the point where I could hardly stand the thought to live any longer. Then suddenly happened to me. A feeling of warmth and comfort replaced my despair, and words came to my mind. Don't be afraid. You are my child. Have trust in me. My fear left, and I was comforted. For the first time in my life, I felt that there was some unseen power or person that obviously watched over me, loved me, and was concerned about me. A few years later, I married my wife Jutta. Then I took over my father's business. I was now the owner of the Busche printing. One day, missionaries from the Mormon church knocked on our door. At first, we were not at all interested, but we highly admired how they were so willing to teach us about their church. Eventually, we were hooked, and after 2 years with meeting with the missionaries, my wife and I were both baptized. We loved the church so much after we were baptized. Every Sunday, our Lord met at a humble room in an old school. Later, we secured some rooms on the 5th floor of an office building. However, it was our dream to have our own chapel. It seemed impossible to find land that was not owned by large companies, government organizations, or 2 major churches in the area. Miraculously, our friend found land for us. Eventually, we built our chapel. Our prophet was so proud of us that he came and spoke at our chapel. I was asked to translate his words to our ward. My wife and I were very faithful to our church, and I was called as a member of the Quorum of the 70. This was a huge change for my family. My wife and 4 children and I were to immigrate from Germany to the United States. I have seen many trials and changes in my life, but mostly great blessings. Auf Wiedersehen!